Hey guys, how's it going? And welcome back to another Warframe video. Today we are going to be looking at my final endgame Eidolon build. We've gone full circle since my, how to 6-cap video with the Rubico to finally having a double umbral form of vaults. All the ribbons that I want, bar maybe one for the Vastilok we might get in the future. But for now, this build is, it's where I want it to be. And it shows in the times. So yeah, this video is going to kind of sort of address a few of the comments from previous videos about my build, because I just want to point out that all of these videos that I've been doing for the Eidolon guide series have been on my Warframe Done Efficiently series account. So it's a fresh account, and we've been kind of gathering stuff as we go, and I've been releasing the videos as we go. So I didn't have access to a lot of things, and in the previous video, people were saying, oh, why are you using prime cryo rounds instead of vial acceleration? The reason is that back when I did that build, I didn't have enough ability strength, or I couldn't afford to put enough ability strength on my vault where it would work having vial acceleration on my Zenith, right? So that's the reason, and then there's a few other options that obviously I chose in the past, which I've now replaced and updated. So we're going to run through all of that. We're going to run through the build, and then I'm going to just show one run. I think the time we got in this one was a 6:54 last Hydrolyst, and I want to point out as well that that's with no macros being used. It was with a damage blessing, so do bear that in mind. If you're not running a damage blessing, then don't expect to be getting as many instant shield takedowns as I did. It's kind of in the Gantulyst where you will notice the difference between insta shield takedowns on damage blessings. The Teralyst should be exactly the same speed, but the Gantulyst you may see some slower times just because you're not guaranteed a one-shot on the shield if you do it the way I do, at least. You could do frame detonation, but we're not doing that. I've still got loads to learn as well. I'm still picking up things that I've forgotten over time. So do bear that in mind when you watch the run. There's definitely stuff I can improve on, and I do make a few mistakes here and there. But generally speaking, a 6:54 for me is pretty good right now, especially with no macros, like I said. This is a double left, close left spawn as well for Gant and Hydro, not a double right. So it could be faster, but also, it could be slower if we get long spawn or close right or whatever. I will also leave a link down in the description to the full run on Eidolon.com, which will show you the timings, and also, the other runs that I did. I think it averaged a 6:59. The 6:54 was a standout run in this particular night, but the rest of the runs were kind of 6:58, 6:59, 7-minute kind of times. So yeah, we'll get into it in a sec, but let's just run through the build. So on my vault here, I've got Arcane Nullifier and Arcane Energize now. I think I probably had Energize on previously, but for my Zenith video, I did actually run Arcane Acceleration. But yeah, so Arcane Energize and Arcane Nullifier now. I've also taken off Transient Fortitude and put on Blind Rage for 311% ability strength, dropping my efficiency down to 45%. But since I have access to so many energy pads now, it doesn't really matter to me. Vigorous Swap and Holster Ramp for getting extra damage when I change from melee to primary. And then I've got all 3 Umbral mods on now, so that my Umbral Intensify ups to plus 77%, and I also get a close to 50% resistance to sentient damage, which is what the Eidolon deals. Shock Trooper on our first. This is going to give us a huge damage boost to our primary, and also combines with heat on our secondary weapon. So that's why we're running that. We got then just duration here up to 254%, which is I actually find really, really quite useful, especially for like the speed on Volt Second. We've also got Eclipse on his 4th ability, which is going to be the primary source of damage for our Zenith and Knell. This really does provide a load of damage, and someone was saying in the comments, I don't understand how Eclipse works at night. It does work at night, and the light levels do vary around the planes at night time. As long as you're in the moonlight, you should get at least kind of a double damage buff. Even though it says damage increase 466.5%, you'll end up seeing maybe a close to 100% increase if you're just in normal moonlight. However, the Eidolon's light output can actually influence that as well, so you'll see differing values depending on where you're standing. And yeah, that's kind of it for the Vault build. The Zenith build, I have now replaced Prime Cryo rounds with Vial Acceleration. Still the same Riven mod, plus 176% crit damage and 118% multi-shot. This is a perfect ribbon for this, basically, unless you wanted to get a triple stat, in which case you could get crit damage, crit chance, and multi-shot with a negative. But this should suffice just fine. Everything else geared towards radiation, multi-shot, and crit. So that's that build, and then primary deadhead to the recoil, and also stabilizer for the recoil as well. On our secondary, on our Knell here, we now have a new ribbon. This one provides crit chance and crit damage solely, as well as negative puncture, which I'm not too fussed about, to be honest, in this instance. We've then got anemic agility for fire rate, creeping bullseye for crit chance, and then heat on here. We don't need an electric mod, because this is going to combine with our Volt's first ability in order to create radiation, which is what the Eidolon is vulnerable to. And then we've got Hornet Strike, Prime Target Cracker, Barrel Diffusion, and Lethal Torrent. Multi-shot and damage, basically. Secondary Deadhead, because this is essentially what we're going to be using to take out the Eidolon. Do the cap shot, if you will. Now, bear in mind that on here, I could replace Stormbringer with another mod, but there's not really many other mods that will fit here, because, you know, we could combine Volt's First with the Hellfire to create radiation. But yeah, there's not many other mods that would even fit in this slot, and if you want to put Vigilante Armaments on, that's only a 60% extra chance to get another multi-shot pellet, so I don't really see it as being worth it in this instance. Our Vastilok hasn't changed at all, just attack speed, and make sure you have Shattering Impact on, and that's all we'll say about that. Make sure you're running Madurai. We are in this. I have gone into this in a previous focus guide video, so go ahead and have a look at that. I'm not going to go into detail on anything here, but obviously Void Strike, Contamination Wave, Sling Strength, all that good stuff, adding up to huge amounts of operator damage. So definitely be running Madurai. Our Parazon here, the only mod you need to be interested in is Runtime, the plus 75% sprint speed for hacking. And then you can either run Livewire or the Invisibility mod. I would recommend on here as well, and if you're not using ciphers, then Auto Breach is a good way to go. Our pets, Carrier Prime, no reactor on this guy, just a straightforward build here. Enhanced Vitality, Synth Fiber, Shield Charger, Vacuum Guardian, Regen, and Ammo Case. None of these are really necessary, to be honest. You could run, I like to run Vacuum just to pick up energy orbs that are lying about. Helps me proc my Arcane Energize so that I don't have to use as many pads, but it doesn't really matter at this point, like I said. And then on our Archwing here, we have got Enhanced Durability and Argon Plating, as well as a bit of efficiency and also flight speed. Max Typerian Thrusters now, and also ability range in order to pull in Vonvalists, and then Cold Snap to CC them, which you'll be seeing in this run as well. You can put primed Morphic Transformer on, or just normal Morphic Transformer on. However, what I would say about that is that you might run into a bit of trouble if it insta-kills Vonvalists when you use your third ability on Itzal. That can then, yeah, cause the Vonvalists to run away before your lures teleport to them, which can cause you a bit of time loss, but it's not a big deal. On our Operator here, not much has changed. We are running Magus Elevate and Magus Melt. Magus Melt helps us to one-shot limbs every now and then, especially if you're running a damage blessing. This is really going to help you take out limbs just randomly sometimes. And also Eternal Eradicate and Eternal Onslaught. This is going to provide us with 180% crit chance when we deplete all of our energy pool. You'll be seeing me do that quite a lot during this run. And also Eternal Eradicate, where we use an Operator ability, we get an extra 60% damage to amps. So that's the build that I'm running. 177 amp as well, Replac, Prism, and then 77, I can't remember which one, Propus Scaffold obviously, and Certus Brace. So yeah, that's the full build, and this is kind of like my final build, guys. I'm not going to change it anymore from here. Obviously, if you guys want to put down in the comments your suggestions, perhaps you have some different mods that you like to run, do let me know. But this is the build that I've ended up being most comfortable with. And what I want to say, you know, people do say in comments of all videos, you know, run what you're comfortable with. It doesn't matter. There's no right or wrong in this game, really. It's whatever you are most comfortable running, so bear that in mind. And I also want to say, just once again, that there are no macros used in this build, so if you want to find out about macros and macro timing, then there are plenty of other videos out there of Eidolon hunters who do much quicker runs than myself, especially here, you know, 654. There are people doing solo runs at 646 to 650 now, so this isn't a particularly fast run, but you know, I can't provide any info on macros because I don't use them personally right now. And I also advise against using them. Although the developers don't specifically say you can't use macros, they are use of a third-party software to help you with the game. So it's down to their discretion if they want to ban you for them, and there won't be any recourse if you do. So again, I would advise against them, and it's up to you if you want to use them, but I will not be providing info down in the comments if you are looking for macros, since, again, we're not going to be using them in this video. But without further ado, we'll get into the run, and then we'll do a bit of an outro at the end. Alright guys, so hopefully that was interesting to watch or enjoyable. If you do have any questions or you have any suggestions, like I said, for the build or any other mods that you prefer to run, then let me know down in the comments below. Be happy to read through all of those. I will be continuing doing Eidolon hunts moving forward, trying to improve my times. I am not going to be using macros at all. But, if you want to get the properly fast times, then you almost have to use macros at this point. It allows you to frame swap so much faster. And if you have a look at the Eidolon.com run that I put down in the description, you'll see, my average kind of limb take times are around 0.2. Whereas you need them to be like 0.0 or 0.01 if you want to be doing the super fast times, which is really only possible if you are, running those super fast frame swap macros. And, you're just more prone. You're more prone to mistakes without using them as well. So bear that in mind. But like I said, thank you guys for watching. If you do have any questions or comments or suggestions, leave them down below. Otherwise, I will catch you in the next one, guys. I'll see you later.